ሰላም ነህ?
So you may proceed when you're ready.
Good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to Zurich, especially to the Group CEO and the Mr. and Mrs. Ambassador from Ethiopia. It's a pleasure, and we are pleased and proud to have you here this morning to this opening ceremony to the new destination, Addis Ababa, with the flight from Ethiopian Airlines. It's always a pleasure to open a new destination or have a new airline at the airport. But it's a special pleasure today as Ethiopian Airlines will improve the connectivity to Africa, and we'll come back to that later on. When I was preparing for this event this morning, I got some information and struck to different similarities between Zurich Airport and Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopian Airlines was founded in 1945, and just 3 years later the first aircraft arrived at Zurich Airport. So we just had the 75th anniversary, and we will celebrate that next year. And in the year before the pandemic, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines transported 31.1 million passengers, and we had at Zurich Airport 31.5 million passengers traveling from and to Zurich. But the most important similarity is quality. So Ethiopian Airlines won this year 5 times in a row the Skytrax Award for the best airline in Africa, 4 times in a row the award for the best business class in Africa, best economy class airline in Africa, as well as the best business onboard catering. And also Zurich Airport has won in the last year a couple of different awards. I just want to mention the award for the World Travel Award for the best airport in Europe. And I guess this similarity is most important. It shows that we are both focused on service and quality. But Ethiopian Airlines is not only a quality airline. Ethiopian Airlines has also a strong market position in Africa and good network, excellent network in Africa, and it matches very well to Zurich, and this brings and will provide well-needed connectivity to Africa, especially to the southern part of the sub-Sahara region. Nowadays, we have approximately 2% of the pax volume, of the total pax volume, are travelers from and to Africa. So there is I'm convinced room for improvement. And especially the connectivity, as I mentioned, to the sub-Saharan region is very important and will improve the connectivity to Zurich, to the Zurich airport. And Ethiopia has the second largest population in Africa, and also a couple of Swiss companies has already a presence in Ethiopia. So I'm convinced there will also be a strong business travel demand to Addis Ababa from Zurich. And on the other side, Zurich is well located in the middle of Europe, is the biggest city in Switzerland, and is an important metropolitan region also in the middle of Europe. And also Zurich Airport, we have a modern infrastructure. We are able to transfer passengers from a flight to the other within 40 minutes, so-called minimum connecting time, and serving the passengers with short connections. So I'm convinced that both the passenger and the cargo demand for the export-oriented Swiss industry will be good on this, and Zurich will be a well and a good business opportunity also for Ethiopian Airlines. So we are looking forward to excellent and long-lasting and hopefully successful cooperation between Ethiopian Airlines and Zurich Airport. And once more, warm welcome to Zurich Airport. Thank you for your attention.
Now have Mr. Tasso, please. Thank you.
His Excellency Ambassador Zannaba Kabede Korcho, Permanent Representative of Ethiopia, Ambassador Mahalet Hailu, Deputy Head of Mission of Ethiopia, Mr. Stefan Vermlinger, Vice President, Aviation Development of Zurich Airport, Mr. Stefan Shudin, Chief Operating Officer of Zurich Airport, Excellencies, Honorable guests, members of Ethiopian community, the media, good morning and welcome. First, I would like to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to all of you to come to this occasion and giving us a warm welcome as we start flying to Zurich for the first time. This morning, Ethiopian Airlines is pleased to start direct flight between Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and Zurich, Switzerland. It is not our first time to fly to Switzerland. In fact, we started the first commercial passenger air transport to Switzerland in 2018 to Geneva. So today's inaugural flight to Zurich is our second destination within Switzerland. During the last 4 years, we have been serving and connecting Switzerland through Geneva to our extensive network around the world. Addis Ababa is the political capital of Africa, and Ethiopian Airlines is connecting the people of Africa together and closer to the world using our extensive network composed of more than 130 destinations in 5 continents: Europe, North and South America, Asia, and Africa. The only continent where Ethiopian Airlines doesn't fly today is Australia, and it is in our radar. Zurich will be our 19th destination within Europe. And through our flight to Zurich, our plan is to provide better connectivity to businessmen, heads of international organizations, and citizens of Switzerland, giving an option through Zurich to access the vast continent of Africa. Ethiopian Airlines is the leading airline in Africa, flying to 63 cities within Africa, almost in every country in sub-Saharan Africa, and in some countries even to 4 cities within one country of Africa. Ethiopian Airlines is well positioned with its hub in Addis Ababa to connect Europe with Africa. We provide a very convenient connectivity at Addis Ababa Airport with only short transit time ranging between 30 minutes up to a maximum of 3 hours. If you take Ethiopian flights from anywhere in Europe, including Zurich, you will depart from here in the morning, in the evening, arrive in Addis in the morning, and you will immediately connect with flights taking you to your destination, and you are sure that you will arrive anywhere in Africa by the middle of the day. This is a very, very convenient connectivity that we can provide to the people of Switzerland and the entire Europe. The flight that has started today will be operated with the ultra-modern Boeing 787 aircraft with 3 frequencies per week, but eventually our plan is to increase this gradually to a daily flight with permission of the Swiss, the Zurich airport authorities. We hope we will reach there very soon. The other objective of this flight is to promote and facilitate diplomatic relationships between Switzerland and Ethiopia. And it will not be limited to Ethiopia, but also between Switzerland and the rest of Africa. Ethiopian Airlines provides, as my colleague said earlier, one of the best air transport services in its entire network. We use modern aircraft, both from Boeing and Airbus, whenever we fly throughout our network. In recognition of our excellent services, we have received various awards from companies that gauge the satisfaction of customers and rate airlines. Ethiopian is a 4-star airline, and we aim to give 5-star service to our esteemed customers. So we are very pleased to open this route into Zurich, and we will continue expanding our services through Africa and around the world to provide still better connectivity to our global customers. Finally, I would like to extend my great appreciation to Zurich airport authorities for facilitating this flight into Zurich airport. I thank you very much. And I would like to thank all of you again for coming and joining us as we celebrate this inaugural flight. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Max Oldorf from CH Aviation. Mesfin, you gave us an interview about 3 months ago that you're building this new hub in Addis with 2026, 27 outline of life. You said that you're gradually trying to increase the flights from Zurich from 3 times a week to weekly to daily. Is that aimed for the opening of the hub, or will that happen earlier?
Thank you for that question. You are right that in order to support our expansion plan, we have been upgrading the Addis Ababa Bole International Airport. And recently, we have increased its capacity to handle around 20 million passengers per year. And there is still an ongoing expansion, both at the domestic terminal and international terminal, which is expected to be completed in the coming 1 year. When this upgrade is finalized, the capacity of the airport will increase to 25 passengers per year. However, it's not the increase of frequency to Zurich is not linked with that. Last year, in our fiscal year, which ended in June 2022, we carried close to 8.7 million passengers only as we recover from the impacts of COVID. The airport capacity is 20 million even today. So still the airport has extra capacity to accommodate more passengers through that airport. The increase of frequency to Zurich will depend on the demand of passengers who will be flying with Ethiopian Airlines. So it is market driven, not airport driven.
Thank you, Mr. Tasho, for that. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yes? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Lasila Kauta from the news agency AWP. There are other companies flying already to Africa, Edelweiss. How are you going to differentiate yourself? For example, if you want to go to South Africa, there is a direct flight. If you want to go to Kenya or to Tanzania, there are already direct flights going there. So what's going to be the difference between why taking Ethiopian Airlines if you have to stop by Addis Ababa?
Thank you. This is an important question. Yes, there are other airlines who are flying between Europe and Africa, the different destinations in Africa. Well, always customers see a lot of factors to choose which airline to fly. In my opinion, I can give you probably the most important 3 or 4 service aspects which customers use to choose airlines. The first one is schedule integrity. On-time departure of flights is an important decision criteria, and Ethiopian Airlines has an excellent performance in terms of on-time departure of flights. Another factor they see is the convenience of the departure and arrival times. Our flights from Europe always depart from Europe in the evening between usually 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock. And the flights arrive in Addis Ababa between 6 typically and 7:30 a.m. in the morning. And then we provide a very short connection time to all destinations in Africa where we fly. So I believe that Ethiopian Airlines provides an excellent service in this respect. The other factor is the onboard service. The onboard service includes cabin, comfort, the meal you serve, the entertainment system that you provide to passengers. And when it comes to cabin look, our fleet is composed of modern aircraft, the 787 from Boeing and the S350 from Airbus. These are the latest technology commercial aircraft that are available in the air transport industry. And then in the narrow body category, we operate the Boeing 737 MAX, which is again a latest technology aircraft. So the cabin look and the flat seats we provide in the business class differentiate us from several of the airlines. There are other factors which passengers would like to see, and it is in recognition of this that we have been rated as the best airline in Africa by Star Tracks, which is a global company known to rate airlines. And for your information, it is not only in passenger. Our services excel also in cargo services. In September, Ethiopian Airlines cargo service has been voted as the best cargo airline of the year, even among all cargo operators, not Africa, but globally. We received that award just in September. So there are a number of service elements that differentiate us from other carriers. I'm not sure if I have answered your question. Okay, thank you.
About the price. Is it going to be are you going to differentiate yourself by the price or not?
Well, in terms of price, it is a science. Pricing in airline operation is a different science. Generally, we don't consider ourselves as premium airline in terms of price. Our prices are reasonable. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. And I cannot say we are the cheapest airline. So our aim is to provide value for money. We are not expensive, we are not so cheap, but we believe our prices are reasonable.
Thank you, Mr. Tasso. Is there any more questions? Yes, could you please stand up and say your name and what press you're from?
Hans-Jörg Bürgi, Sky News Switzerland. I understand you served 19 destinations in Europe. And you spend at all destinations more than 12 hours on the ground every day, like in Zurich. And does this make financially sense? Because there's a lot of money standing around on the ground every day.
A very good question. You are right that we keep all our aircraft in Europe during the daytime. And as you said, around 12 hours, sometimes more. And this has a negative impact on aircraft utilization. As you know, aircraft are very expensive. They have to fly to generate money. But unfortunately, since we are operating hub and spoke operation in Addis Ababa with 2 banks, in order for the flights coming from Europe to fit into the bank in Addis Ababa, we have to keep the aircraft on ground during daytime. So that has its own adverse impact, but overall, Still, Ethiopian Airlines is profitable with this operation. In the future, we have a plan to find use for this aircraft as they stay on the ground in Europe. We have a plan to partner with other airlines so that they can utilize the aircraft during daytime. But at this time, that is what is happening.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes, please.
Yes, Fabio Storni, Swiss Television. A war is going on in your country, and recently there were some media allegations that said that the airline might be involved. You denied strictly, strongly. Is there a risk that this situation can ruin the image of your airline and maybe have some economical consequences?
A very good question. It is true that we have some conflict in the northern part of Ethiopia. It has been there for more than a year now. However, I can assure you that it didn't affect Ethiopian Airlines much. 70% of our operation, or 70% of the traffic we carry through Addis Ababa is transit. And it is about 30% that is coming to Ethiopia and going out of Ethiopia. Even though we have that temporary conflict, and I would say it has affected the tourist traffic to the northern part of Ethiopia, that is true, but it's a very small component of our operation. So it didn't bring a meaningful impact on the operation of Ethiopian Airlines, and we don't expect that to happen. I can tell you that the entire airline industry is still recovering from COVID and is expected to fully recover by 2024. However, the recovery of Ethiopian Airlines is faster than the industry, and by June of 2023, at least 1 year ahead, we expect to fully recover from the impact of COVID by June 2023. It shows that Ethiopian Airlines is not affected by that conflict, and except that area, we have 22 destinations, domestic destinations. There are 3 airports that are in the northern part, but we are flying with a very good load factor to 19 domestic stations, which shows that the domestic air transport is also doing very well, not being affected by that conflict.
Thank you so much. Excellent. Are there any other questions before we... Yes, please stand up and say your name.
Hello, this is Fikre Emmanuel from Leyu Ethiopian restaurant in Zurich. I want to ask just a short question that we are happy that you start the flight, but is it a trial flight or is it a fixed flight, whether it is lucrative or not? Thank you.
Thank you. When we start a flight, we don't start it just for test or experiment. That's not the standard practice. Now we are starting the flight as a scheduled flight with 3 frequencies, and probably when we start new flights like this, in some routes the traffic quickly builds, and we will quickly start increasing frequency. In some routes, the traffic growth is slower. It means we will continue with the 3 flights for longer until the traffic matures. Before we open any new route, we conduct market study to fully understand the potential of the market. And we decided to fly to Zurich after that market study, which shows there is a good traffic between Zurich and Africa. And we expect that this will continue and in fact will grow further to enable us increase frequency.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Chudling as well, or any further questions? Yes, please. Okay.
Sorry, last question. My name is Ines Annes. I am from the Basel border. I just have a question for Mr. Mesfin. Welcome, first of all, to the whole Ethiopian crew and Ethiopian Airlines into Switzerland. I am absolutely thrilled that this is happening in Zurich, which isn't very far from us. Although I reside on the French side of Switzerland, in the Alsace side, so we are also one of the beneficiaries of, we will be one of the beneficiaries of the Ethiopian Airlines, because we don't have to travel 3 hours either to Frankfurt or to Geneva. So thank you for arranging this setup. I just have one small question, and it might be, you may have already addressed it in your opening meeting, or in your opening speech. Did you say that you fly to other destinations in Europe from Zurich, or is it always to Ethiopia and Africa, or other African destinations? Thank you.
Thank you. The flight that will be operating from Addis to Zurich makes a technical stop in Milan. This will continue for some time. And we have fifth freedom traffic between Milan and Zurich. It means when the flight departs from Addis, it can carry passengers to both Milan and Zurich. After the flight arrives in Milan, some passengers disembark. And we also get some passengers coming from Italy to Zurich. We have that traffic, right? So we carry passengers between Milan, Italy, and Zurich. This is what is happening now. But eventually, we wanted to separate Milan or Zurich from Milan. We will make it a non-stop flight after a while as the traffic builds. And the traffic in Milan has already grown to be independent. This morning I was talking to the country manager in Milan, and she was telling me that they need independent flight. So it's a matter of time. Eventually the flight from Addis to Zurich will reach to a non-technical direct flight.
Thank you, Mr. Tasso. Mr. Chudling, we're going to go ahead now and close press and have the cake cutting. Afterwards, I will ask 2 guests from the press to join us for an interview. Just give them a break to eat some cake and get some good coffee into them. So if you'd like now, we're just going to bring the cake forward.
The feeling was exceptional, to be honest, because to be one of the people to land at Zurich with Ethiopian Airlines after 25 years is really amazing. And I feel honored to be a part of this huge ceremony. And hopefully we'll get a chance to come very often in the future. Thank you very much for asking me.
And Mr. Tasso, if you would be the...
I will pick one.
Yes, you will be the lucky...
Can you shake it? Who is the lucky winner? So, who will be the lucky winner to come to Addis Ababa?
Me.
Okay. I will be impartial. I will not choose any particular person.
Number 13, 0013.
0013 is the lucky winner. Please present yourself.
Who is number 13? Wow.
1-3? Well, thank you very much for this win. This is very, well actually I thought this morning I've never flown Ethiopian. My mother is from Kenya, so, and I've never been to Ethiopia, so I thought, she's from Mombasa, but then actually, no, I'll come to Addis actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks. Oh, this is mine? No.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here today at the media conference devoted to the opening of a new destination between Zurich and Addis Ababa. And today we have a unique opportunity to talk to the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, Mr. Mesfin Tasso. Welcome, Mr. Tasso. Nice to have you here in Zurich.
Thank you.
You're very welcome here. Mr. Tasso, can you please tell me what feelings you have or had when landing here in Zurich, and how was this moment for you?
Yeah, it was an exciting moment because we are opening a new flight to Zurich for the first time. And always when we open a new flight to a new destination, it is just the beginning of a bigger operation. So I thought that we are making history here, that in the future it will be a big operation. So I was very happy to come here this morning.
This is very true, and future will bring even more success.
Thank you.
By the way, talking about success, I know that Ethiopian Airlines has become one of the continent's leading carriers. And what would you highlight as a reason for such success?
It's a very good question. Many people ask this question because Ethiopian Airlines is fully owned by the Ethiopian government, but people usually assume that a government-owned enterprise will not be profitable or efficient. But Ethiopian Airlines is operated as a commercial airline, and its link with the government is very, very loose. So all decisions within the airline are made based on purely business principles. The other point is Ethiopian Airlines has a very hard-working workforce and a very smooth relationship between management and employees. This has also contributed for our success. All employees work or take their work in Ethiopian Airlines as a national duty beyond working for earnings. The airline has a clear long-term strategy, and it has internal capacity to execute those strategies. A combination of these have contributed to its success.
Yes, for sure. People are always the key to success. And speaking about your employees, you mentioned that you now have a very big team, right? And today even more. So how difficult is it to manage such a big team?
Ethiopian Airlines has today around 17,000 employees in different professions, and it has a clearly defined organizational structure and leadership management structure, defining the key duties, roles, responsibilities, so the work goes smooth. We don't have any problem in managing employees. In fact, we have an excellent work discipline and management structure that enables us to mobilize the whole resource towards realizing the company goals.
It's a pleasure to hear that. But it must have been very difficult during COVID time, right? And your company is one of the few that survived during COVID. So what is your secret?
Again, this is an important question. As you said, Ethiopian Airlines navigated through the difficult times of COVID successfully. And the key factors that contributed to this success are, number one, the airline has the capacity to identify opportunities in difficult times. So when COVID emerged as a global pandemic, we identified opportunities in cargo business. So we mobilized all our resources, human, aircraft, and other activities focusing on transporting goods. Secondly, there was a demand for many people to travel to their home country. So we started operating charter flights for repatriation. These two business opportunities were identified before other airlines identified them, and we had the capacity to mobilize this quickly. Our agility helped us to realize these opportunities. So, and we didn't reduce any workforce. We maintained all our employees, but redeployed them on the new opportunities. So we were successful in generating enough revenue to stay without any downsizing, but making reasonable profit.
This is so great that during such hard times, people manage to save their job and that you help them with this. This is incredible. Mr. Tasso, can you remind me how many international and domestic destinations you serve, and if you want to open more?
Yeah, today we fly to 132 international destinations in 5 continents, except Australia. And out of this, 63 are in Africa. We have an extensive network in Africa, our home continent, and 19 are in Europe, including Zurich. So we use around 140 aircraft, modern fleet, to operate to these new destinations. We have planned to open new destinations, and for example, Amsterdam in the Netherlands is in our radar, and we'll be opening additional destinations based on market studies. And we have around 36 aircraft on order, which we will be receiving in the coming 3 to 4 years.
You mentioned aircraft, and people now are often talking about the impact of flying on climate, and especially the carbon footprint. It's in particular a very kind of frequently discussed topic. So what's the Ethiopian Airlines response to that?
Ethiopian Airlines would take all the necessary steps to reduce its carbon emission. There are several initiatives identified by the industry, and we will take those initiatives step by step. For example, One of them is to modernize fleet, to acquire aircraft with modern technology engines that consume less fuel. We are already doing that. The second one is to take or redesign the operation in such a way that it consumes less fuel, and we are doing that. The third one is to do carbon offsetting initiatives, like planting trees, which would convert carbon into another usable gas. And we have aggressive plan to do a lot of plantation. For example, this year we planted over 100,000 trees in Ethiopia. There is a big move in the country to do a lot of afforestation, and we are engaged in that. The other area is to consider use of sustainable aviation fuel, and we are conducting a detailed study how we can also embark on that project. So there are a number of initiatives which we have planned to do.
And this is great. This eco-friendliness is one of your distinguishing features. And would you be able to name any other features that distinguish your airline from the others?
Ethiopian Airlines' mission is to provide services that meet or exceed customers. Of course, every airline wants to do that, but we have a serious commitment to improve our services in all aspects so that we can stay ahead of the competition. This includes fleet modernization, which we are doing. Then we are investing in infrastructure to sustain our growth. We are expanding the airport. The airport is under Ethiopian Airlines. We are building a big MRO capability. We are building a big cargo facility. We have a training academy, a big training academy. We have hotel in Addis Ababa to support our transit passengers. So we are investing in infrastructure. The third area that differentiates us from the other airlines is we have our own academy that is designed to support the airline growth with skilled and competent aviation professionals in every field. So these are the things that are helping us.
Yes, you mentioned your mission, and I also read on the website that you put safety as your value and your first priority. So how do you ensure safety for your passengers?
The air transport industry is a safety-sensitive business. Safety has to be first priority for every airline or every airport. There is no question on that. What is very important is to fully comply international recommendations and standards in enhancing safety. There are a number of industry practices and recommendations that help you to maintain the highest level of safety. And it is the level of commitment and implementation that differentiates one airline from the other. And Ethiopian Airlines is very serious about it.
I am personally very glad to hear that, and we can assure our viewers also that this is safe, yes, so that they are not afraid. When we were talking about the distinguishing features, you also mentioned the Addis Ababa airport. And I know that Addis Ababa Bole International Airport is your major hub and also one of the largest airports in Africa. So how difficult it is to keep maintenance of such facilities and capabilities?
One unique principle or culture of Ethiopian Airlines is when we do something, it is a must that we have to develop the necessary internal skill to support it. When we buy new aircraft, we make sure that we have adequate internal MRO facility to maintain the aircraft. When we build a facility, we hire enough number of people and provide them with adequate training and tools, equipment, which will enable them to maintain the facilities. That is what we did at Bole Addis Ababa Airport. So we have enough workforce, adequately trained to maintain and upkeep the facilities.
And I'm sure that because of these, you also received many awards. And maybe there is one that you are most proud of.
Well, to be honest, we take every award very seriously because it gives us feedback. It is a testimony that what we are doing has met customer expectations. That is the most important point. So particularly when the award comes from directly vote of customers, that gives us the confidence that what we are doing is right, and it encourages us to do better, to achieve more. So every award is important, but particularly those that come from Skytrax are very important for us.
That's for sure. And yeah, now Ethiopian Airlines has been in the air for more than 70 years. And maybe you can define some plans for the future.
We have a vision and a strategic roadmap which we called Vision 2035. In this vision, we have clearly articulated our plans. Our plan is still to continue growing fast, profitably, sustainably, because these are very important to sustain the growth. And various strategies are articulated in this document, and our plan is to effectively implement this strategic roadmap, which includes expanding the network, adding new destinations to our network, continuing modernizing our fleet and increasing the fleet size, investing in human resource, always training and producing adequate manpower, highly skilled, motivated people, investing in infrastructure so that we can be self-sustained, and so on. So these are our strategies for the future.
And I am sure that you will achieve all the goals. And maybe just at the end, you can I can ask you like a personal question. What advice would you give to CEOs or businessmen with migration background?
Look, we Africans have the responsibility to assist our brothers, sisters in Africa to improve their living. Today, unfortunately, the African socio-economic development is at the lowest level. Those of us who are educated have a bigger responsibility to engage ourselves to assist Africa to become well-developed in all areas. So I encourage them to come back to Africa, engage themselves, and assist our African citizens in the overall socio-economic development. There is a big opportunity. For example, those who are in the aviation field, the African air transport business is underdeveloped. It is untapped. There is huge potential there. It's a matter of doing the right things so that Africa will have airlines that will stimulate the socio-economic activities and assist the nations to upgrade the living standard of their people. So let them come to Africa and work with us.
That's a great advice. Thank you very much, Mr. Tasso, that you devoted this time to us, to Diaspora TV, and I'm sure that you motivated a lot of people today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time to ask me very important questions. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you
Have
so
a
much.
good day.
You too. Goodbye.
Okay.
I'm going to do my best to say this in a couple of languages. Just a second. Of course, good evening. Guten Abend. Okay. And then Amek Shafchu. Thank you very much. It is my great honor to welcome you all here this evening in the Dodler Grand Hotel Zurich to celebrate a very special occasion. This morning, Ethiopian Airlines conducted its inaugural flight to Zurich from Addis Ababa, marking a milestone for the Ethiopian Airlines in Switzerland and also for its Vision 2035. The motto of the airline is the new spirit of Africa, and our celebration today perfectly demonstrates that ideal and belief. Tonight we have a very special program, including entertainment, some special guests, and of course the wonderful food and drinks provided by the Dodler Grand staff. Before we begin dinner, we will invite some of our prestigious dignitaries to share some thoughts on today's momentous occasion. And during dinner, we will have the pleasure of experiencing some amazing cultural dancing. And at the end of the dinner, everyone has the opportunity to win some fantastic tickets from Zurich, Africa, Tombola Draw. So please make sure you have entered the draw. First of all, let us thank some of our guests. We would like to thank the representatives that come from far to us tonight. Zurich Airport, the Canton of Zurich, travel agents and tour operators, corporate clients, Teka Transport, Ethiopian Mission, Diaspora Television, the African community, Ethiopian community, and Jakob Druk in Haber Mulu Getabe Anna. So without further ado, let's start off this wonderful evening by welcoming our first speaker, the CEO of the Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mr. Masfin Tasso. Please come up. I would just like to say, Nkuan de Nameta Chu.
Excellencies, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's difficult for me to list your names in the proper protocol after having so many dignitaries in this wonderful evening. My apologies for that. I respect all protocols. First, I would like to welcome you all to this evening when Ethiopian Airlines celebrates its inaugural flight to the beautiful city of Zurich. Our flight, the first flight, arrived in Zurich airport this morning. We received a warm welcome from Zurich airport, Ethiopian community members and other business partners, and we are very grateful for that wonderful reception. I would like to thank you all. Ethiopian Airlines is pleased to start flying to Zurich with a direct connection from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. We have started this flight with 3 frequencies, 3 flights per week, using the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, the ultra-modern aircraft which Ethiopian Airlines is using. Zurich is our second destination in Switzerland. We have been flying to Geneva for the last 4 years, and today we fly to Geneva 4 times a week, and now we have started flying to Zurich with 3 flights per week, giving a total of 7 flights to Switzerland. The addition of Zurich to our network will make our total number of destinations to Europe 19, all flying from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The purpose of this flight is to connect the people of Switzerland to Ethiopia and to the 130 international destinations that we fly through our main hub in Addis Ababa. For some of you, you may not know much about Ethiopian Airlines, and please allow me to say a few words about what Ethiopian Airlines is, what its size, what it is doing. Ethiopian Airlines is the flag carrier of Ethiopia. It has been in the air transport service for the last 75 years, connecting, bringing Africans together with its 63 destinations in Africa. Out of the 130 plus destinations, 63 are in Africa, our home continent. We cover all these flights with around 140 aircraft composed of the latest technology aircraft, both from Airbus and Boeing. The Airbus A350 and the Boeing 787 are the core aircraft in our fleet. In addition to that, in the narrow body area, we use the Boeing 737 MAX, which is the latest technology in the narrow body category of aircraft. Ethiopian is the leading airline in Africa, the biggest airline with the biggest network, both in Africa and connecting Africa to several regions of the world. We are a 4-star airline, and we aspire to give a 5-star service to our esteemed customers. We have been operating even through the most difficult time of COVID, and we are recovering faster than the industry. By the end of this fiscal year, which ends in June of next year, we will be carrying the same number of passengers that we used to carry prior to COVID. That will be around 12.7 million passengers. We have a grand strategy, long-term strategic roadmap, we call it Vision 2035, which outlines our fast, profitable, and sustainable growth during the coming 13 years until until 2035. By 2035, we have planned to double the total number of destinations we fly and the total number of aircraft we operate, which requires us to grow fast. But this growth will be a natural growth, meaning we will not acquire other airlines. We will simply naturally expand our network by adding new destinations to provide seamless connectivity to our customers using our services. In recognition of our excellent services, we have received several awards every year. For example, during September of this year, we have been named the best African airline in 2022 by Skytrax. And we have also been named as the best cargo operator in the world. It was a great achievement of about 17,000 employees who work for Ethiopian Airlines. We will continue growing, expanding our network, and the new flight to Zurich will provide a very convenient connectivity to all our destinations, but particularly to Africa. The flights from Zurich and Geneva depart in the evening, arrive in Addis Ababa early morning, and all our African flights depart in the morning. So anyone who uses our flights from Zurich will arrive anywhere in Africa where we fly by the middle of the day. This is a very good connection for our customers. I invite you to try it. You will find it very, very convenient for you. Finally, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Zurich Airport and Zurich Civil Aviation Authorities who have helped us to start this flight to Zurich with this frequency. I would like to tell you that even though we start with only 3 flights, now we expect the number of flights to grow along the time. Our aspiration is to reach a daily flight into Zurich in the years to come. So thank you very much. All our guests who came here and graced us with your presence in our celebration, I sincerely thank you very much and enjoy the dinner. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to welcome our next speaker, Stefan Gross, the Chief Commercial Officer of Zurich Airport.
Dear Excellencies, dear honorable guests, dear team of Ethiopian Airlines, with you, my dear friend, CEO, Mr. Mersin Tazef, dear community of Ethiopia and Switzerland, and dear community and friends of Zurich Airport. We are here to celebrate a wonderful day today, a day of connection and new partnership. We warmly welcome Ethiopian Airlines to Zurich Airport. Let us build a long-lasting, successful and respectful partnership. We are convinced that passenger and cargo demand will be strong on this route, and we therefore thank the leadership of Ethiopian Airlines for the entrepreneurial spirit of connecting both our countries. Ethiopian Airlines was founded in 1945, Zurich Airport 1948. You're so a bit older, you're like the older brother. But we can say, probably you could say we are the same generation. We're both in our 70s. And you know, people from the same generation usually share common values. And maybe that also goes for our organizations. And in preparation for today, I read a proverb, an Ethiopian proverb I read on Google. Professor Google told me an Ethiopian proverb. And I checked before that it exists, so I'm safe now to say it. And it says, "A good name is better than a good perfume." And Ethiopian Airlines is not just a good name, it's an excellent name. And it's not only me saying this, Ethiopian Airlines is highly recognized and acclaimed with the most renowned rewards in the industry. You mentioned some of them. You were actually quite humble. You didn't only win it once, but for a couple of years in a row. 5 times in a row, best airline in Africa, business class, economy class, 4 times in a row, and obviously you are a nation that knows how to cook food, and you transfer that into your business class, and also got high appreciation for that. So your customers appreciate your outstanding quality. So you must love what you do, otherwise you would not be where you are. And I think this connects us in spirit. Zurich Airport, we also love what we do. We operate a safe and efficient quality airport in the heart of Europe. And we care about our name and reputation just like you do. We also got some awards, but the important thing is to the customers. Are they loyal and do they appreciate what you do? And I think this is something where we're very much connected in the ambition with our people to be outstanding. That's why I also believe that Zurich Airport is a good choice for Ethiopian Airlines. We continuously invest in our state-of-the-art infrastructure, and we focus on efficient processes and short minimum connecting times. And the city of Zurich is in the center of the economic powerhouse of Switzerland and very well connected to the country. All this gives me high confidence that we will fare well together. 2 partners with a clear focus on quality and service can deliver a great product together. I mentioned the entrepreneurial spirit that I can feel from the leadership of Ethiopian Airlines. You have done a lot for your country, and you've done a lot for the whole continent. And as a Star Alliance partner, you're part of the strongest alliance, and you know that the Swiss market has a strong Star Alliance orientation. And that is good news for future commercial success. And your engagement will help building bridges between Ethiopia and Switzerland, transport not only people, but the spirit and a better understanding for each other's culture. and transport of cargo, of course, which is an important role for an export-oriented economy like Switzerland. We don't want to talk about pandemic too much, but I have a pandemic sentence. We all went through some difficult times, and your engagement is a testimony of a strong belief in the necessity and the future of air travel, and certainly also helps Zurich Airport in recovering from this unprecedented crisis. We are almost back to pre-pandemic level at Zurich Airport when it comes to the number of destinations, but tonight I'm so happy. You know, Zurich, a new service to Addis Ababa is a highlight for us, as this route has not been served for decades. So let me close with wishing Ethiopian Airlines the best of luck and a solid business. Zurich Airport is standing by your side as a strong and reliable partner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gross. Zurich Airport in itself is a pleasure to just go shopping. Who even needs to fly? But it's an extra bonus to have such an expansive space that has everything at your fingertips. So once again, thank you. And now, for our last speaker of the night, I would like to welcome the Ambassador of Ethiopia to Switzerland, HE Ambassador Zena Kabede.
Excellency, Mr. Mesfin Tasso, Group CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group, Excellency, Mr. Mesfin Birro, International Service Managing Director, Excellency, Mr. Stefan Gross, Chief Commercial Officer, Zurich Airport, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to warmly congratulate the Ethiopian Airlines Group for conducting the inauguration of its thrice-a-week flight to and from Zurich and Addis Ababa. This inauguration marks a milestone for Ethiopian, adding Zurich as its second destination in Switzerland after Geneva. Ethiopian Airlines began its flights operation to Geneva on the 3rd of June 2018 and currently operates 4 direct flights a week between Addis Ababa and Geneva, starting from yesterday. The 2 destinations flights to Geneva and Zurich, therefore, would result in a daily flight between Ethiopia and Switzerland. As a national flag of Ethiopia and a Pan-African carrier, the Ethiopian Airlines connects Africa to the entire world. All the more so, the launching of flights to the financial and industrial center of Switzerland, Zurich, will further facilitate and enhance diplomatic and socio-economic relations, not only between Ethiopia and Switzerland, but also between Africa and Europe. Zurich will also be connected with over 130 destinations of Ethiopian Airlines via Africa's political capital, Addis Ababa. Within 75 plus years of progressive development, ever since it has started operation back on April 8, 1946, with the first flight to Cairo via Asmara, Ethiopian Airlines has been increasingly growing by steadily introducing new aviation technologies and systems, network expansions, and aviation mentoring, currently operating a fleet of more than 140 modern and ultra-modern aircrafts. Ethiopian has developed strong institutional and technical resilience and capacity, which it has vividly demonstrated during the fight against COVID-19 and beyond. In a nutshell, Ethiopian, as a multi-award winning airline, is a pride not only for Ethiopia, but also for the continent of Africa. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, regarding the significance of Ethiopian Airlines daily flight between Addis Ababa and Switzerland, Zurich, it is a golden opportunity to further strengthen the investment and the trade cooperation, tourism exchange, and the people-to-people relations between Ethiopia and Switzerland, as well as further cementing the existing overall bilateral relations between the two countries. Since the commencement of direct flight of Ethiopian Airlines between Addis Ababa and Geneva on the 3rd of June 2018, Ethiopian Airlines office in Geneva and the Ethiopian Embassy in Switzerland, Swiss African Business Circle, and Geneva Chamber of Commerce and Industry have been working together to maximize the number of Swiss investors and tourists to make use of the ample business opportunities in Ethiopia, facilitate trade exchange between the two countries, though the incidence of COVID-19 pandemic has somehow impacted for some time the pace of these efforts. The airline and the embassy have arranged a visit for two groups of journalists and tour operators visiting Ethiopia. Most of the journalists have promoted Ethiopia after returning to Geneva. The tour operators also have included Ethiopia into their tour packages. Ethiopian Airlines and the Embassy of Ethiopia have worked with SABC and Geneva Chamber of Commerce and Industry on arranging a business trip of the investors in Swiss to explore potential market opportunities in Ethiopia. In conclusion, the Ethiopian Airlines flight of 7 days a week with the new destination of Zurich would create a golden opportunity for potential passengers from the business city of Zurich and the diplomatic city of Geneva to and from Addis Ababa and beyond. It would further strengthen the multidimensional bilateral relations between Ethiopia and Switzerland. Therefore, the Embassy of Ethiopia in Switzerland is more than ready and happy to fully engage and cooperate with all the stakeholders to maximize the potential benefits that would serve mutual interests. And finally, I would like to thank all who have worked hard in organizing and successfully facilitating this inauguration and this evening. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Those were truly inspiring and encouraging words. As one would say, the future is bright, the future is Ethiopian Airlines. Now we have a surprise for you. Dinner will start shortly, but we just want to share something special with you that should be coming on any moment. So, and in the meantime, I can tell you some interesting facts. For example, did you know that Ethiopia happens to have the most UNESCO heritage sites than any other African country? They are the top. And Switzerland has 13 UNESCO sites. So you have something in common, and even more in common, Ethiopia is where the origin of the coffee bean started, and more importantly, we have the best chocolate here in Switzerland. So that's a perfect combination. I did originally have a lengthy novel of interesting information, and I was told, put the science book away and just focus on getting everyone dinner. and getting them settled in. So is everyone having a good time tonight? You all look stunning. As a matter of fact, without being crude, some of the ladies here look hot, and that would be appropriate because there is a part of Ethiopia that is actually the hottest part of the world. However, the average temperature in Ethiopia is a nice 22 to 25 Celsius, which is perfect for when you want to escape the ski slopes of Switzerland and you want to just take a dive into somewhere warm, sunny, and delightful. So. As a matter of fact, on top of that, we only have 12 months in the rest of the world, but Ethiopia has 13. The good news for some of us is that that makes us 8 years younger than anywhere else, in theory. But it also means that you have 13 months of sunshine when you go to visit Ethiopia. So it's a marvelous place to consider visiting. And remember that part of the raffle tonight will give away 2 sets of tickets. So you will have economy class for 2 people, and you will also have first class. So if you have room in your suitcase, there is an MC who wants to go along too.
An economy class ticket, then the second draw is a business class ticket.
So I have the privilege to pick the first one. So we are now drawing 2 economy class tickets to one of the greatest cities in the world. So the good news is it's with Ethiopian. And the ticket number is quite iconic. 0077. Wow. Who has 0077?
One thing, good coincidence is Pascal is our cargo GSA, the CEO for aeronautic cargo. We are working together almost for the last 5 years. And he's the CEO for aeronautic cargo. Congratulations.
I like this job. I didn't know I had this talent. Mix. Only one. So I have something that feels good. Excellent. We have a valid ticket. The ticket number is It's, yeah, almost.
Level of this number.
0144.
Thank you very much for tonight, for a wonderful memory night that we made in history. And I'd like to say a quick bow for everyone with full respect. I wish you a safe journey back home and all the best. Thank you. And